Hello, I'm Dr. Sheryl Randolph and welcome to the Live Anyway Zone. This is a place where we will explore and we will just examine what this thing called life is all about and how we can learn to navigate through challenges and difficult situations. So thank you. For those of you, if it's your first time, thank you for joining us. And for those that are returning, thank you for returning. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. That way you will get notifications about the different things that are coming so that you don't miss anything that's going on right here. Well, today I want to pick up and connect to episode 1, dealing with pieces. Because oftentimes life will, and you'll hear me say that throughout these episodes, that life will hit you. And it's how you respond determining your outcome. And so last week we talked a little bit about making sure you hold your pieces together and that you don't lose any part of your life, so that as you rebuild, as you put things back together, you have everything you need. Well, today I want to talk to you about the value of those pieces. You know, because sometimes we think once something has been broken into little bitty pieces that it no longer has its value. It makes me think about when I was growing up, and I'm sure many of you can relate, my siblings and I would oftentimes be playing in a place that we were told not to play in, and all of a sudden you would hear a crash and something had broken. Now, the biggest thing was to make sure, again, that we had all of the pieces together. And I want to do a shout out to super glue, whoever invented all of those different types of glue. It has saved us throughout our lives from certain consequences, and I'm sure many of you, it has saved you as well. So we would gather the pieces and we would strategically put everything back together. We glue the sides, we get it done and put that in place, and we would put it right back where it was. And we could come in a room and we'd have guests and visitors, and they would compliment that beautiful piece. Well, my sisters and my brother, we were laughing, saying, but it's broken. But you know what I came to find out? That just because it was broken, it did not change its beauty. It did not change its value. And people still complimented the vase from being, you know, just a wonderful piece, even though it was broken. That's the way we are. Sometimes we get broken. Sometimes situations come and it pushes us out of alignment with our destiny. It gets us off journey. But can I tell you, when you grab your pieces and you choose to keep moving, there is value in the pieces that you bring back together. The wonderful thing is that pieces are really just part of a whole. One of my favorite candies, and I know y'all don't think I eat candy, but oh yes I do. And one of my favorite is, bam, you got it, Reese Cup. I love Reese Cup. I love the way the chocolate comes in with the peanut butter. I just think it is like the best candy ever. So let me tell you when I had an attitude. I had an attitude one time when I sent my daughter to get me some candy, and I asked her to get me Reese Cups. And she comes back with Reese's Pieces. I'm like, I didn't send you to get Reese's Pieces. Here is what she told me. Mom, whatever is in a Reese Cup is in Reese's Pieces. I said, no, it's not. I like my Reese Cup just like it is. It's round, it's all together, and it is delicious. Well, because I like candy so much and Reese's Pieces were all I had, I decided to try them. Oh my goodness, can I tell you the same satisfaction I got from the full cup, I got into pieces. The wonderful thing was that everything that was on the inside of the cup was also in the pieces. Who knew? And it had a wonderful shell on the outside. It covered all of the goodness on the inside. Now, I still have not traded my Reese Cups, but I'm really good with Reese's Pieces. You know why? Because the same flavor that I enjoy is also in the pieces. It has the same value. It looks different. It's covered different, but it has the same value. It has the same richness That's the same thing with you. I know some of you all think, I'm just not the same. I'll never be the same. So much has happened to me. How can I get back? The same value that was in you pre-pieces is the same value that's in you post-pieces. You just have to have enough in you to get up and put them back together, because that value is there. It reminds me of a biblical story. It's with Paul, and you can find it in Acts, the 27th chapter, and somewhere in there, the 30th through the 44th verses. Paul is on this journey, and he's heading to an island, and they've had some things and said, oh, don't go on the journey, the storm is going to be rough. And Paul went anyway because he had an assurance from God. Well, while he was on the journey, the storm came, the winds were blowing, and it beat against the ship. But before the end happened, Paul was relaxing, and he had a dream, or he was visited, and the dream, he heard God say, not one person on this ship will be destroyed. So Peter gets up and he's good. Paul gets up and he's good. He's like, okay, we're all going to be okay. We're going to be just fine. Well, the storm didn't stop. The wind didn't stop blowing. And all of a sudden the ship struck an area, and the ship turned into so many pieces, it just started breaking apart. Here is what Paul told them. He said, if those of you that can swim, go ahead and swim. But for those of you that can't swim, if you would grab a hold of the pieces of the ship, you are going to arrive safe. Oh my goodness, that blows my mind every time I read it. He said, we don't have the boat any longer. The ship has been destroyed. It's no longer intact. But if you would grab a hold to the piece, you're still going to make it to safety. Can I just encourage you right where you are? I know you're dealing with pieces, but if you can just hold on to the pieces of your life, if you can just grab a hold to what appears to be left, because there's more left than what you see, but if you can grab a hold of just one thing, if you can grab a hold to the joy that your family gives you, if you can grab a hold to, I still have this job, if you can grab a hold to the friends that are still there supporting you, if you can still grab a hold to that peace that you had when you woke up this morning, if you can grab a hold to that joy, that little laughter that happens here and there, if you grab a hold to the pieces, because the piece is just as valuable as the whole. Remember me, Riska? I know. If you just focus on the pieces and you grab a hold of it, the 44th verse says that everybody arrived safely. Some swam, some came in on broken pieces, but they all arrived. Can I tell you, don't be moved by people that appear to have it all together. All of us have experienced brokenness at one time or another. But I love the ending that it says, and they all arrived safely. If you want to make it to the destination that God has for you, there is nothing or anybody that can stop you. I'd like to say it like this. Some things may be delayed, but they're not denied. What God says shall occur in your life, if you can just believe, if you can just trust, if you can just know that you can do all things through Christ which strengthens you. As I travel and I talk to individuals, sometimes it's not a problem with God being able to do it. It's the first part of that scripture that people struggle with. I can't do all things through Christ. We have to do all things through Christ, but because we know us and what we've been through, we question the can I? We question, is God really going to use me? We question, am I really going to make it to the place that's designated for me? Go back and read Acts 27 and 44. It says, and they all arrived safely. There is a world out there with your name on it. There is a situation waiting for you. There's a door that's waiting for you to approach so it can open. Yeah. Brokenness, broken pieces, but there's value in broken pieces. If you just hold on and you just ride it out, if you just hold on and don't abort the trip, get off of your journey, just acknowledge I've been through some things. Yes, I've been broken. But I know just as valuable as I was before, I'm just as valuable now. There's value in your broken pieces. And when you know that, you can choose to just live anyway.